All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. My guests are with me. We're speaking about the Creative Economy Support Bill 2024 and whether the creative industry can be the next frontier for young people to make a living out of it, and what needs to be done to ensure that it is streamlined well enough for it to be the multi-billion-dollar industry that it is touted to be. Honorable Eddie Okech is here, Senator for Migori. Thank you for making time. Eric Omondi, a content creator, is with us. Asante sana for making time. Nixon Andare, you know him as Nicky Big Fish, also a content creator, is with us here in studio. Asante for making time. Winnie Jenga, content creator as well, and Ezekiel Easy Onyango, chairperson, Kenya Film and TV Professionals Association. And Winnie, I'll start with you on this. What are the issues that content creators like yourselves are facing, and what are the possible solutions to them?
Let me start with when you are coming up as a content creator. So for most people, it's usually the second option because the first one didn't work. I'll speak for myself. You go to school, you get your grades, you pass. I did public health and nursing, so I'm supposed to go into the medical field. Yeah, you get there and you're like, this salary cannot sustain what I want my life to look like. So what do you decide? You decide to join the content creation space. Why? Because you feel like it's gonna give you a little bit more money, or you can juggle the two. Yeah, so you get there and you realize it's actually not a bed of roses. You actually have to struggle. And if you don't have someone who's holding your hand through the whole process, it's very, very hard to become like a proper content creator. Either your parents decide to sponsor you through the first few years, or you work your way through content creation. I'll speak for myself. I had to work for I think around 1.5 years without being paid. Like, I'm working, my content is being pushed outside there, but the person I'm working for, I'm not getting money from them. Eric, you started in Churchill. Yes. There are a lot of speculations that guys are not being paid enough in that space. Is it true?
Yes.
Yeah, so you literally have to struggle to get where you are. And if you don't have someone who's actually holding your hand, or if you don't have a bigger space where people can see you from, and then probably you can grow from there, it's basically, you just back it to whatever you wanted to do in the first place, because it's very, very, very hard.
So at what point did your breakthrough come? Has it come? Yes. At what point? Are you now being paid for your content?
Yes, I am. I am being paid for my content, but it takes a lot of sacrifice and consistency. The consistency does pay in the long run, but most people are not that patient, honestly. If I was asked to do it again, I wouldn't do it again.
You'd go back to nursing?
I'd go back to public health.
Okay.
100%. It is so hard, because also who is supposed to take care of us? Because we have boards, yes, ZICO, and these bills that are being whatever each and every day. Kama sai, there's another one called because I was doing my research, there's another one called the Creation Industry Bill. There's this one. There are unions that are supposed to take care of film, art, street talent. There's so many boards that are actually, there's so much that is happening, but none of them is working. So who's actually taking care of us? And do we need another bill, or are the systems that have already been put in place, are they the ones that are supposed to be working? Because they're not working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nikki, issues ni nini hapa?
Kitu nasema, it's true. Hiyo journey to make it inakuanga a little bit tricky, but now with the availability of internet and stuff, imejaribu kurahisisha hiyo kazi. And what I can say, when hiyo journey, it's very hard. Hapo serikali inaja na wewe, lakini once you start making some money, serikali inaja na wewe kama unaanza kwa hiyo journey. But now when you start making money, now they get interested. Now they want to tax you. Solution, if you ask me, kuna hizi dini tunatumia cameras, machines za kuedit, kama zinaweza, hiyo duty inaweza kuwa reduced ama ikue waived. Tunaweza kupata equipment to shoot good quality things, inaweza kuwa sawa. Na also to watu wa media, now tuko hapa kwa media station. Actually I started here kwa NASWA 2011. Kama tunaweza at least, I think Eric was fighting for that some time back, 80% of local staff hiyo inaweza create job opportunities mingi sana. Instead ya kuweka kina Alejandro wenye hata wajui Wakenya wanakaaje, tuna promote programs za huko nje. Wa Nigeria tunawacheza hapa, yet huko kwa hawezi tupatia hata 1 minute. Sisi tumewapatia hapa whole 5 hours per day. Hizo Mexican, Philippine soaps, they are playing here. So sisi tuna absorb cultures za watu wengine, yet zetu tumeshindwa kuzi empower na tuweze kuzi sell out there. So that's also another thing. Alafu pia serikali inakuwa imetubeba kama watu wa mchezo kidesign. The only wanatutafutanga wakati wa campaign, wanatuona kama watu wa sarakasi, tunafaa kuja to dance, watu hey, pigieni Eric makofi, Eric fanya ile kitu yako. It's just like tukianza comedy, example mzuri, pia society inachangia. When we started Naso on Citizen TV, kuna jirani yangu alikuwa akiniambia badala ya mtoto wangu akuwa anacheza hapa na radalanda, simuite kwa hizo mchezo zenyu pia fanya. So society
ni kama ni second option,
si kama second option,
so mainstream.
But ni kwa sababu venye serikali imechukulia hiyo kitu. So hata mzazi unaweza kumaliza shule umepass vizuri, akisikia unaingia kwa content creation, anaona kama mtoto wake anajiwaste.
Okay.
Yeah. So kuna hiyo perception pia tunafaa inaweza chinchiwa na serikali. I remember some time back the former president, that is His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, alikuwa kitaka kupatia Nyambane kazi. Alisema statement fulani hadi leo mkumbuka. Sasa Nyambane tumesema waache zile mchezo wanafanyanga, akuja kusaidia kupatia kazi. So inafanya watu waangalie our section kama a very serious industry. Yet it is a very serious industry. Ikiweza kukua watu wakiweza kuinvest ama serikali ikiweza kutupatia actually kulingana hiyo bill yenye na propose, tukipatiwa hiyo kipaumbele and stuff, we can make tutaweza kuwa a very critical part of the economy.
Okay.
Yep.
Eric, how is it that in Kenya there seems to be an issue with the content creators, and yet abroad this is a multi-billion industry? In fact, if you look at the people in Hollywood, they are some of the best paid actors, they're some of the best paid artists. Even if a musician just has one hit song, they're okay. But here in Kenya, why is there such a big struggle? How can it be fixed?
Trevor, I think I am seated here with the moral authority to talk on this issue because I have been here for 17 years. I've gone through all the phases. I hear what Winnie is talking about. It's true. So I have the moral authority to say what I'm about to say. Trevor, I went to Daystar. I graduated journalism. We call it communication in Daystar. I have my degree. I've never touched it. I live off my talent because finally I got where I wanted to be. The creative economy is a multi-billion economy universally. And in Kenya, very few people, Sauti Sol, Big Fish, Eric Omondi, Winnie, we are less than 20, Otile Brown. Because, Trevor, you know, and it takes me back to the government. It takes me back to the president from the top. The issue with this government, Trevor, is there's a disease, there's an ailment, there's a cancer that this government has refused to treat. I call it a painkiller government. When I measure to Panadol, then the pain goes down. It will come back to haunt you. And that is the young people. Because 70% of Kenyans are young people, Gen Z and millennials. And what the president and the system keeps doing is just injecting painkillers. What they're now doing with the blood-based government. Can we, Mheshimiwa, Senator, can we, I see there's already a bill in Senate that I knew about yesterday, and I'm a top content creator. Can we involve the people concerned? Hii 20 billion tumenyang'anya governors. There are 47 20 billions available. Can we take one and create a fund that will handle what Winnie is talking about? Winnie has helped the government this morning. She told the government, mimi nilikuanga nas, nikashindwa. The things I've gone through, I would not do it again. 100%, those were our words. Can the government pick, can they start listening to young people? can they come up with a fund before they tell us about MCSK, Talanta Hela, there's a new bill in Senate or in Parliament? Can they show goodwill? Stop taxing content creators. You are suffocating and killing them before they're even born. Can the government show goodwill and say that E20 billion tumechukua ya Vihiga County, we are going to give you loans, hata wacha loans, we're going to give you grants to buy cameras for 1 year. Just come with a proposal, tell us, mimi naitwa Sauti Sol. I wanted to start a studio ya kushoot music videos na kurecord audios. I need 2 million. Chukua enda. Then after 1 year, come back and start taxing them. Trevor, I like this, and I know I'm still on topic, because creative economy, hata mheshimiwa wasema, involves young people.
Yeah.
There is a time bomb. And I was telling one of the government officials yesterday that muna celebrate, munadhani game imeisha. The football match haijafika 90, ni half time. So wasianze kucelebrate huko waki-celebrate homecoming, ati now vitu zimeisha. It is very dangerous when Gen Zs are quiet and they never got what they wanted. But the other side is celebrating. Hiyo ni half time. Na hata ikuisha 1-1, iliisha 2-1. Can mheshimiwa, this is my proposal.
Yeah.
Put down every pen and paper and laptop, zifunge kwanza. Call Winnie Njenga, call Nikki Big Fish, call BN, call Otile Brown, the top leaders, call Nameless, call Wahoo. Usipeleke, mheshimiwa, this is an advice to you, usipeleke waheshimiwa Naivasha. Peleka Sauti Sol, peleka Nameless, peleka Churchill, peleka Wahoo, Naivasha for the whole weekend, even 6 days. Ask them, when Winnie amesema. Because I, as a Rikomondi, I've gone through it for 17 years. Why is nobody calling me to ask me? It will not work until artists who are concerned, who are talking about tech leadership, and are involved.
Okay, easy. What is the issue here? You've been in this industry as well for quite some time.
Trevor, thank you so much first for this conversation, and I'd like to start by honoring people who have lost their lives, who work in the screen sector. People who have lost their lives through the pain of not having a good welfare structure, of not seeing the fruits of their labor, and some of them have succumbed to suicide, some of them have succumbed to life circumstances that have been brought by the stress of work. So I would like to honor them this morning. The reason I start there is because it's not a secret that we know the creative economy is a powerhouse, as we can see globally. And the big question is, why is it not responding in Kenya? It's not responding in Kenya simply because it has not been mainstreamed. The public sector itself does not understand the creative economy. But I'll want to give credit to one place, which is to the current government. The one thing that they did was create a motivation by creating a state department of the creative economy. That, as a high-level policy direction, I will acknowledge as a good thing. Where I find a challenge, or where I've observed a challenge, is because it felt like this was a policy direction that needed the industry to be included with the public sector, and then we unbundle it. But 2 years down the line, after that good move, we haven't unbundled the State Department. So it is hard to plan, it is hard to budget for the industry. And so we still suffer from access to finance issues, we still suffer from regulation issues, we still suffer from having a sustainable workforce in the screen sector, we still suffer from IP and rights exploitation, and most importantly, infrastructure, like Biggie was saying, to ensure that we can do our work in a profitable way and in a manner that makes sense. Eric has mentioned Daystar, and what my dear Winnie also talked about. There's also the linkage between higher education and industry doesn't exist. So colleges are training what they want to train, but whatever they're training people in is not responding to the needs of the industry. So we've got quite unique issues. Some are shared across the sectors, but some are unique to their sectors. So that, and then number two, that's most importantly within public sector, is the idea that individuals are more powerful than the institutions that they run. You look at institutions that are supposed to give licenses to collective management organizations, and a CEO and a chairperson can boldly decide to license one and not license the others and not give a reason why. You wake up one morning and you find another state agency, the CEO has decided that such and such a content is not good for Kenya, and all of a sudden it's being banned. So that disease also should be looked at as another core problem that is creating this tension between the industry and the public sector.
Okay. Yeah. Before I bring in Senator, because you're the mover of this bill, the Creative Economy Support Bill 2024, Winnie, what would you like addressed? If somebody asked you today as a content creator, what would you like addressed? 1, 2, 3.
Number one, I feel like all these bills are so old-fashioned. Like, there are things that should have been recommended like 20 years ago. CSI. As right now, the reason why USA creators in US or in South Africa, Nigeria, Tanzania are doing better than us right now is because they are finding it easy to move as a brand, move as a business themselves. Yeah. So me as Winnie Njenga, yes, I'm in fashion. How am I going to make money by myself without having to wait for other brands to want to work with me? You understand? So how are you making sure people are empowered ndo waweze to run their businesses themselves? How am I able to move from a content creator to a business mogul? We are not being taught those things right now. Yeah. For example, let's talk about Kylie Jenner. She was in showbiz for so long, but she was named by Forbes as the youngest billionaire. Why? Because she was able to integrate showbiz and business in just selling lipstick. No one is teaching us that right now. No one even knows how to do that right now. The reason why you'll find some people know how to do that right now is because they have worked closely with people who are in business. So they kind of understand this is what I'm supposed to do in the long run. Lakini content creators hawajui hivyo. They just think the money is going to come in the long run. No one is being taught that. And then secondly, the policies overlap each other. The policies in the act, in the bill that has been proposed right now are the same policies that are in another bill, in another act. They're the same things. They are so textbook. Okay, you have recommended these things. Are they the same things that people are going through kwa ground? They're not the same things. So what are you doing about that? Nothing. So content creators still don't move as businesses. And okay. The moment we start moving as businesses, that is the only way we are gonna make money ourselves.
All right, Eddie, I come to you last because I wanted to first hear the issues with the content creators who are in the industry, and you have this Creative Economy Support Bill 2024. How does it address the concerns that have been raised here this morning?
Thank you. I think, first of all, I think that is important. You know, the hardest thing to be in, and I wanted to tell my sister and my brothers here, the hardest thing to be in as a young man in this country is politics. Because when you're in politics is so full of trauma and that emanates from what I call the stigma of politics. The moment you're a politician in Kenya, and I think is not dissimilar to Africa, is that then you're seen to be somebody different. And then politics has got all its own brand. The politicians are seen as corrupt, as all these bad things, right? And therefore, if you find yourself there as a young person, you can find yourself in a very lonely journey, even when you're trying to address things that actually affect you personally. I think that it would be important to start by saying that I was born in a small village in Migori County called Mangongo Village, deep down in Uriri constituency. And I lost my mother in 2003. After losing my mother, it meant that I would either continue my primary school education or work in tobacco farms in Migori County. And then I had to leave because working in tobacco farms as a very young kid was affecting my, my respiratory system to the extent that I was getting sick. So I went into Migori town and then found myself in a variety of street living, from Migori to Kisumu all the way to Nairobi. I've actually lived in the streets with a number of people. Today, I'm a product of literally 7 families that have given me support in terms of few money here and there to go to school until I got a breakthrough to go to South Africa to study and then to the US and came back in Kenya. Why am I, and that's why even you see my name, my middle name is Gisheru, because that was one of the families that supported me to be who I am today, who got me from the streets. There's a lawyer from Migori who supported me, and there is a teacher called Mr. Adwar in Migori who supported me as well. I don't want to go into that deep history because that's a topic for another day. But in our street living, what used to happen is that the easiest place to deal with our pain in the streets was to form a drama club. I actually wrote some of I consider myself a playwright because I wrote some of the best narratives. Even when I went to South Africa, my drama narrative was one of the best, top in South Africa. I performed, I did performed arts. I learned how to play guitar in the streets. Eric, right now I'm working with Joseph from Jabali to learn how to play trumpet. Yeah. We are training all the time. But what my interaction with the creative process has been is that the norm in the country that was when I was growing up and when I was much younger, up to now is the same. And the norm is this: creative industry is not an industry. It's a place of last resort. Our ecosystem, government and the society has made the creative industry a place that you cannot be able to go for as a first option and as a career path and as a professional thing that you can do. But when you see Eric Omondi or you see Churchill or even you see BN, you see a lot of professionalism in what they are doing that is not recognized as such. So that then there is no a unified platform of recognizing this place and as an industry. So when I found myself in Senate, I actually looked at all the bills and all the institutions of governance that have been in the different clusters of the creative industry, because there are so many clusters, you know. Sometimes we tend to reduce them up to 7, you know, audiovisual, screen, performing arts, content creators. But actually there are many, because I consider the lady that I left in Migori who does beads as a creative. Yeah. You know, they're just doing a creative product. So if you were to perhaps simplify, and I don't like simplifying because it's such a complex industry. Yes. But if you were to simplify the problem of creatives, number one problem in general that affects where the creatives are the most is royalties. The royalties for creatives is very difficult to guarantee as a source of income, where my sister Winnie was talking about. Yeah. Because if you start with print royalties and then you come to mechanical royalties and then you come to publishing royalties, you'll find that, and sometimes even performance royalties, you'll find that sometimes only performance is what creatives are making money.
Eddie, hold that thought on the royalties. We'll coming back in just a bit. I'm getting some sad news here. There's some breaking news coming through to our newsroom that there's a deadly Nyeri fire where 16 pupils have been burnt beyond recognition. 14 others rushed to hospital with serious burns. The fire incident occurred at the Hillside Endarasa Academy. This is information coming through to us just now. We don't have much details. We're still keeping an eye on the developing story there. But the unfortunate story that we are getting here is a deadly Nyeri fire incident where 16 pupils have been burnt beyond recognition. 14 others have been rushed to hospital with serious burns. There's a fire incident that occurred at the Hillside Endarasa Academy. Still don't know what caused that, the fire at the Hillside Endarasa Academy, actually. That's what we know right now. There's still very scanty details, just keeping an eye on it, but it's an unfortunate turn of event where 16 pupils have been burnt beyond recognition and 14 others have been rushed to hospital with serious burns in a deadly Nyeri school fire. It's a Hillside Endarasa Academy. We'll give you more details as the moment we get them, but that's what we know so far. We're keeping an eye there. We're sending a crew. We'll give you a bit more details shortly. But Eddie, you're talking about the issue of royalties before that breaking news came. That
breaking news is at breaking, and I hope it can be arrested as fast as possible. And my heart goes to the families that have already lost lives there. It's such a sad thing. I hope that we can be improving our disaster management and disaster response. That should not be happening in our country. But that said, I said that if I was to simplify, and I don't want to simplify because the industry is broad, vast, and there are a lot of things in the industry. But number one, on the bulk of the industry is the issue of royalties. It's a problem. There is the issue of distribution. You know, even just to get, if you think about even just music industry, when you think about playlist curators in music, influencers in music particularly, and even industry professionals, just even access to them, to newcomers, becomes very difficult. Our piracy laws are some of the oldest laws, despite having places like Kikobo, that you can be able to think that to be dealing with these issues. You know, even with the existing of live streams that are still going on, the distribution of different pieces of art in this country is chaos. And then the next thing is what my brother Izzy talked about, IP laws and just IP management, right? It is not even integrated to opportunity that can exist when you're thinking about even, you know, special economic zones that are being created. How you can be able to open some for what Nick was talking about, make some places tax-free for some kind of companies that are established to create more opportunities for people. And then the last thing is contract. And contract is a very difficult thing, even in just other businesses and other industries. You can imagine where my sister Winnie is talking about a place that is not organized, the way even honoring of contracts can be very difficult. Today you are a young person who has gone to Safaricom, and Safaricom has taken you to be a promoter in their billboard. Who even helps you negotiate your rates? And how are those rates paid for? So the problem is, are those even standard across board, the standardizing of those issues? Despite the existing, and I agree with Winnie completely, that despite the existing of different clusters associations that are there, these things are not mainstreamed. So then what remains is that the creative industry is not actually an economic industry. So what we first must do is make not public policy, which is where people run very fast, Eric, to go to want the government to do it for us as creatives, but to make what I call industrial policy. If you think about it, lawyers in this country, like the Law Society of Kenya that was established in 1992 by an act, the lawyers in this country have created themselves as an industry. It's a legal industry. If you think about KMA, the Kenya Manufacturers Association, they are an industry where you can see how product development is done, how market development is done, and then how contracts are drawn. So what is this bill? This bill is the first bill in Kenya that is unique to any other thing that's ever been done in this country, that is trying to be able to have all creatives have a house, a place for them to be able to become an industry, that they control the regulations that the government is saying, is doing, like you saw in the U.S. Last year, the Screenwriters Association in the U.S. Just because the fact that they have a very strong house, they were able to negotiate for serious wages problems, not only through strikes, but through proper industrial policies for them and for their counterparts in the other industries. And that is that. So this bill, number one, seeks to build that house, which we are talking about as the guild, and I'm open to ideas from Akina Eric, Akina Bien. By the way, when I was developing this bill, I looked for you. I didn't just have your number. I really tried to get your number, but I actually called Akina Bien, Akina. Sorry. Akina Bien, we met with Akina Bien, we met with Akina Mamito, we were with a lot of creatives, Akina Eugene Mbugwa, Akina Nviri. They were, when I was just trying to think about what could be a best bill. And then number two about this bill is the support. And that support is industry driven, so that incentives for creatives can be aligned. It is in the bill. They can have their own bodies that is bringing all the clusters together as the members of the advisory board that deals with government, right? And then the last one, which is what Eric also talked about, is that this is the first bill that is talking about a creatives fund that is also going to be able to make sure that the government is not only thinking about people outside there and giving people money, but also being able to give people money.
Here. And Big Fish, let me come to you with this. Your idea kwanza kuwa na your creative industry guild, will that sort out half the issues? So that there's a team that pushes your agenda. Ama nyi wenye hata mtasikizana your agenda ni nini hapo ndani.
Okay, first of all, my thoughts and prayers are with the family from Nyeri. I hope the situation can be arrested as soon as possible. Kuchangia kwa the topic that we are talking about, I've gone through the bill. The bill is good, it's a good step. apart from some few changes zenye naweza recommend pia on the side tukiongea na bwana senator. The problem with Kenya, if you ask me, shida si laws.
Yeah.
Shida ni implementation and the political goodwill and also leadership. Because now, I think you're proposing it under the Ministry of Industrialization
and Trade.
Why not creative, sports and youth?
Because the norm that is there is what Eric was talking about. The one who come youth and creatives, I mean, it's actually not creative, it's cultural.
Yeah.
You are seen as people who are supposed to be flower girls in anything that the government is doing. So therefore, they're not taken seriously. Okay. But I'm making a case for what Winnie was saying, that can we change this industry to be able to be an economic industry, an investable
from sports
industry, so that you are interacting with the ministry that is charged with being able to make it professional and be able to make it a place for economic investment.
Okay. So nikiendelea na point yangu, the reason as why I'm saying that it's under the Ministry of Industrialization, I think. The appointing authority wa huyo minister, cabinet secretary, is the president. So president to start with ndio nafaa kuwa na the political goodwill and also onesha leadership, na ndio implementation pia iweze ku take place in a very good way ama smooth way. But president ndio kwa mstari ya mbele kama sisi wasanii kutudanganya. Kama hiyo storia tuliambiwa sijui by this year January, Colombiana the pictures they'll set up nini studios hapa Kenya. Hollywood will start shooting several movies in Kenya. June 1st, Facebook will start being monetized. We are yet to see that. So there's no political goodwill from the top. So
tutaanza ku monetize Facebook?
Not yet. But to start with pia, President anasema hiyo story ya ku monetize Facebook ni kama like yeye ndo ameleta, but tumekuwa kwa hizi meetings na watu wa Facebook way before even this administration. Kwa sababu ya monetization. So
and what is the issue? Why mbona bado imekwama?
Kuna some structural issues. I think the first meeting we had with Facebook guys, tulikuwa tunaongelea kuhusu content yenye inaweza kuwa monetized na yenye haiwezi kuwa monetized, the language and stuff. So I think your political goodwill ikiwa we can get somewhere. Sababu so far nobody believes what the top leadership wanasema.
Okay.
The only thing tunaweza amini, mimi nikaambiwa tu na serikali wakiniambia kesho watu wa content creators, we are going to give you this and this and this, that one I can't believe until I see it. Okay. But the only thing wanasema ni amini wakisema tomorrow we are going to arrest you. That one.
You go show it. That a step in the right direction with the creating just fast that industry guild, so that you're under a house, like Senator says.
First
that
of all,
house you can figure out what works, what doesn't work, but at least you have a house.
Yes, there are a lot of emotions flying. Yeah, Napoli to the families of the pupils. Yeah. The emotions flying all over the place, and I even forgot to thank the senator for even thinking about us and bringing the bill and working on it. So asante sana. Personally, wacha nikushukuru. And we are not attacking you. We are just venting.
Of course.
We are venting. Trevor, Mheshimiwa has talked about LSK, Law Society of Kenya, which was an act of 92.
1992, yes.
LSK ni akina nani? Ni? Maloya. Irene is a friend of mine. Faith. She's a lawyer.
Lawyer, yes.
Ezekiel, okay, I'm not supposed to mention names. It's good. My manager will kill me. These institutions, so anything to do with creatives at this point, venye haizi amini anything brought to him, unless akembiwa kesho tunakushika saa 3. Atajipeleka juu najua watanikujia. There's nothing that is going to be believed or trusted by the government. The government, I mean the president, the deputy governor, the senator, the MP, the MCA, anyone, when you umesema, the political brand in Kenya right now is a very bad brand. We don't trust any of them. Sema Eric, tunataka kusaidia wasanii, wapi? So there is no trust.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's a trust deficit.
Anything government, official government institution. If the Law Society of Kenya has lawyers, Na hiyo ingine umeita inaitwaje?
Kenya Association of Manufacturers.
Has manufacturers.
Yes.
Can the conversation and the actions revolve around artists?
Yeah. Which is what is recommending.
Which is, I've read it. I've read it. And that's why I started by saying Asante. So can we actualize that? And Trevor, I'm challenging you this morning to do, you're very good at what you do. I'm challenging you to do a town hall. Can you bring the industry leaders? Hakuna mtu ashafanya hivyo.
I agree.
Me, I started in 2008. Akina Winnie hawakuwa wamezaliwa.
I'm sure she has something to say about that.
It's a joke. Sorry. So my point is, I have the moral authority. Sijaiona industry leaders, and I will name names, nameless, Waire, Juakali, Churchill, Wahoo, Amani,
Wagenge
Alisi, the gurus, wakuje wakae hapa. Kwambie Trevor, nani Juakali akwambie, no English. Wacha nikuambie shida iko hapa. Kitu pale mtaa ina happen. Then we have that conversation. And then now we agree. Otherwise, tuwakienda nini? Me personally, I'm an artist. I went to parliament to fight for them. Walinitoka. You see, involved.
The artists themselves.
Yeah, they play 75. They'll say, hey, good idea, we like it. But huku tupigia simu.
Mbona nyi msijiorganize and create something for yourselves?
Huh?
Because AD at least has put up a bill that he wants, first of all, mukwe regulated in your own way. Yeah, but how come you have not been able to do that?
Because the government has not created an environment that enables us to do that.
Is it a government thing or your own personal initiative?
It is a government interference because government has already created 6
too many things.
Offices that are representing us without even telling us. So the government has already blocked us by creating that. That's why we get arrested. When I'm on the streets, that's what I'm fighting for. I want us to do us. But the government already, the environment does not allow it.
Okay.
Yeah? Eric, ni nini wewe bana? Wewe ndio fanya sikuna MCSK, sikuna nini? Kuna hizi vitu GHC, CRE, ACM, MCSK.
Okay. All right.
KCC. Ziko mingi sana.
Yeah. And easy, is that where the problem is before I come to Winnie? There's too much representation, but not the actual players there. Because what they're saying is there's several bodies which they don't even know what they're doing, but they're supposed to be representing the creative economy.
Okay. To be fair, I think, in my view, it's not a question of having excess bodies or having overlapping policies. There is also some level of self-information that we must give ourselves as creatives to understand how the government functions, because we exist in a country that is governed by laws. So the system of government where there's a ministry, departments and agencies, and understand what the current constitution has that allows for this structure that we have. But that said, we do what we do because we want to contribute to economic development. Nobody in the creative space is just doing it for fun. The end result is economic development of self, community, and country. So you are impacting your own personal development, you're impacting the own GVO of your little area that you come from, and eventually you contribute to the GDP of the country. Sectors that are able to do that have a good relationship between industrial policies and public policies. Where we have failed as creatives, myself included, is that we have never been able to determine our own rules of engagement, what the senator is calling industrial policies. Today, even in the film industry, company 1, company 2, company 3, our contracts are not the same. It's not unified. So when I hire Winnie as an actress to come to be on a film, I determine the rules because that is a private project. But it shouldn't be that way. It should be across board, that these are unified contracts. Today in Kenya, an advertising agency will ask for perpetual rights for an actor. The Big Fish will sign a contract that says perpetual. Who are you to own somebody's rights perpetually? But because we don't have industrial policy, so the first step and the most critical thing for us to do is determine our own rules of engagement. On the bill that the Senator has proposed, I see 3 things. He's got the what very clearly, which is the creative economy. The why, I also think he's got it because he uses the word support. So this is not an overarching public policy, but it's supposed to come and cushion some areas of need. Where I part ways with his proposal is because it is first referred to as a guild. Because a guild is an association of professions within the same craft. Like you could have
the Editors Guild.
The Editors Guild.
Yeah.
So if you read the spirit of the bill and the term guild, they're not the same. It reads close to something that would be a council. That is in the spirit of what he wrote. Number two, it is very important that we make a forum of industry and government. We've just finished public participation on the bill, and the Senate have acknowledged that it is the first bill that has received tremendous feedback from industry. When you retreat, do not retreat alone as the Senate. Like Eric has said, like Winnie has said, like Biggie has said, involve the industry, and don't involve the industry not just as level of getting information. Involve the industry in the process of execution and implementation, because anything that starts right will succeed.
Okay.
Three, and most importantly, anybody who's in the craft of creative, whether it's film, music, performing arts in Kenya, we all suffer from one common problem that we don't speak a lot about, which is lack of informed data. We don't measure, we don't have the right indicators, and we don't report appropriately. So you find private sector, for example, a commercial bank like KCB, they really want to support the sector. They even want to design financial products, but they're blind. So there is there is no place to go and get the right data. What are the needs of the creative sector? When you look at foreign direct investment, like Netflix coming in, same problem. Where can we get reliable data? When you have companies that are trying to create infrastructure, same problem. So why am I mentioning this? Is because in the proposal, you've got the creation of this thing that's called a guild, which I call a council. I believe that council becomes the central nucleus. It becomes the cement that holds together all our issues. If your rights are infringed, you've got a place to go to. If a CMO license is issued fraudulently, you've got a place to go to. If the film industry wants to unify contracts, there's a body that can now do that. How can we then lobby together for the government to give us a special economic zone? So all content creators and entertainers, whether in nightlife or day life, can register to be special economic zone companies so that they're not liable for VAT, they're not liable to import duty, they enjoy the incentives that manufacturing is enjoying. So with that said, the creation of that body should also be non-ministerial.
Which it is.
If it's non-ministerial, you have a body that, whatever is called the Creative Economic Council of Kenya, will always stand its ground. It's a forum run by creative industry and government, will never be affected by changes in public structure, and for first then you'll start seeing impact of all the suggestions we've always had since independence. There'll now be a central body to implement that, guided by industry.
But it's a start,
It's a start.
Okay.
It's a perfect start.
Winnie, I saw you shaking your head earlier on. You don't think this is a step in the right direction?
No, he's actually mentioned, I'm completely against putting everyone under one guild, because it's called the creative industry for a reason. People are creative in different aspects. Now putting us under one stature, because he mentioned something about a lady who used to make beads, So we lack proper formula of identifying our artists. We are the whatever is so broad,
so diverse.
It's so diverse. So how is putting us under the same bracket going to help, or is it going to make things worse? Because the opposite of our industry is the extractive industry, the mining, the nini, blah, blah, blah. They have so many departments that make sure things run effectively. So why are we being put under one guild while we can benchmark from an economy that is already working or sort of working? How is it working? Whatever they have delegated different whatevers to different people. There's no way one guild can accommodate all of us. Tutapigana kwa katikati. One is going to be represented, another one is not going to be represented, because there are so many. I was reading yesterday, kuna architectures, we have people in the art industry, in the visual industry, toys, graphics, whatever he was saying, beads. There is no way one board can run everything.
But what would you suggest? Because, for example, if you look at something like the Law Society of Kenya, yes, the lawyers, they practice different laws. There's matrimonial law, there's corporate law, there's legal, there's criminal, but they're all under a body that deals with their issues. So if you had a body that deals with the creative industry, then you're the ones then to decide which segments falls for which one. Isn't that...
Yeah. I'll suggest this to Winnie, you know, because we're craft players and most of our products are intangible.
Yeah.
Like Eric content is shikana mkono.
Yeah.
It's intangible, but when he's creating it, he'll get people from all these different sectors to create that product.
But her concern is how diverse can you be, because there are also very many of them.
It goes back to the issue of data collection and research.
Yeah.
We first need to map what is the Kenyan creative industry, because right now all the bills and all the things that are proposed are based on borrowed policies. You look at the UNCTAD model, you look at the DCMS model from the UK, you look at the Indonesian model, and then you'll kind of create a mishmash.
Yeah.
The mistake thereby becomes that all these models are for these countries were informed by research from their countries, and that's why they settled for those models. So why this council is important is because then it champions first the mapping and understanding of the creative economy in the Kenyan context. Because we are not a big population like Nigeria. So we can't rely on the experience economy to make money. We have to rely on the innovative economy and shared resources to make money. So what I would encourage is with the council, what it does, it then strengthens the professional bodies in the industry. Then you would have a creative, like a content creators guild. Then you'd have like a filmmakers guild or association. But all these industry bodies are then centrally nucleused at a forum that is run by government and creative industry at the council.
Yeah, would that work for you?
Yeah, that would work. That would work, yeah.
So that at least you give in your views in a house in a centralized command structure.
Yeah.
Okay. But your concern is that mutapigana huko ndani. What did you mean?
So like my concern is people, we all have different, whatever's needs. We have different expectations. So what happens if one person is the one is supposed to take care of everyone? Ni kama kuwa na watoto 12, mtapigana huko ndani. There has to be some sort of decentralization so that everyone can be heard differently and each department can grow differently without having to suck off each other.
I'm talking about that kupigana part because it's true content creators are the most vicious when it comes to attacks, and I'm sure you've so, and even Eric, and even during the Gen Zs, even you could not even agree amongst yourselves. What do you recommend when it comes to the issues of bullying? Because I know even you have gone through it.
Maybe, okay, so the issues of bullying in terms of our Kenyan context is very weird, because if you look at the creators who've grown quite fast, they are the creators who are bullied most. So what happens when we regulate bullying? Are we silencing Kenyans at the upper chini? Is the problem Kenyans? Or is the problem just this space that we've been given? And how many policies are we going to implement until we realize we are the problem? Because honestly, so, okay, sawa, mwende mseme, you put an act that says if you say this and this, it's considered as bullying. And then the next day someone comes up with something else. The next day someone comes up with something else. So how are we really going to regulate bullying if it's us ourselves? Because, okay, so kaende. Yeah, you just continue. Plus, you get used to it because it's always the same things. They're always saying the same things. The bullying, it doesn't grow, it doesn't change into newer words. So once you get into this space, actually you have to grow thick skin and understand that people are gonna have opinions. You're going to cry, you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh at someone else getting bullied. The next day it's going to be you. And you have to understand as well that bullying is how most Kenyan creators grow. So now what do we do? Do you want to grow? Yes, you want to grow. So you have to be ready for a little bit of bullying here and there.
All right, let's see some of the feedback coming through here, and if time allows, I'll give you a chance for closing remarks really quick, but we've really run out of time. Let's see what you're saying at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. Let's bring that up real quick on screen before we make way for Ben Sue and Roy T-Boy on the decks. Sir Nixon says prosperity in the creative age can only be fully realized when each and every content creator is recognized and empowered as a source of creativity. Okay? Remy says Kenya's creative economy is not only a source of jobs, but a beacon of innovation and unity. Let's craft policies that shape a brighter canvas for our nation's culture and creative industries. Okelo Mwalimu says devolved units are mainly suffering from inadequate and insensitive leadership, not inadequate funds. It should be made mandatory for county chiefs to attend training on governance at Kenya School of Government immediately after every general election. This might help. Okay. What else do we have? Let's bring that up and see. Frank Orinde says the irony about creative economy is the fact that the whole process and leadership is formed by people who aren't creatives. The government is rushing to create a fund that they have no idea what it should be used for. Rushed bills, rushed everything, that won't work. Okay. Alex says, I always hear Eric talking of reducing counties. After drafting a bill, it must go to county assemblies, then the two parliaments. Does he think the county assembly and senate can support such a bill? A bill that will make some senators lose their jobs? Okay. Let's see what the next you're saying here. Gabi says we shouldn't blame counties. The problem is inability to mobilize on-source revenue. That's look up to national government. National government is also suffering from the same. That's seek for loans. It is a big revenue problem that straddles all levels of government. Bob Otieno says, can the content creators tell us the do's and don'ts in this industry in order for one to go through or make it? Okay. And Dixon says, Trevor, in every government officer wants to have a PA because many are lazy or incompetent. Imagine a former governor is currently the senator and is supposed to oversight the current governor. You're not serious. Okelo says we are overrepresented. We don't need 47 counties which can't be self-reliant. We don't need women reps. We don't need 47 plus senators. Devolution was meant to bring services closer to the people, not to be an employment bureau for political cronies. Godi says, my concern is that we are sinking deeper into an economic sludge despite having experts donated by Baba to aid the government. Wow. Late disbursement of funds to counties is a deliberate mechanism of killing devolution. All right. Winnie, do I have time for closing remarks or will we leave it at that point? Okay, let's take closing remarks starting from you, Winnie. Oh, I meant the other Winnie. The other Winnie is direct. Yes, closing remarks, really brief.
As long as creatives are being included in these processes, I believe we are going to get to where we want to be. We might not be there right now. We might argue and fight. But as long as we are being included, I think it's a step in the right direction.
All right. Nikki, Big Fish?
Also, my closing remarks, ningesema that government with the ministry, some of the different activities that they do, ningeomba that they also engage the creatives because tuko na creativity enough zaidi kwa hii country yenye haiko tapped in terms of maybe kama kusell Magical Kenya, our tourism, vitu kama hizo. Instead of government na kuchukua mtu from America kukuja ku market our tourism, us guys can do it better. In case of any announcement they want to make, us creatives can do better. Pia tunaweza change venye tunafanya vitu zetu. Sasa tunafaa kuwa tunaenda step za mbele, si zile vitu za mtukufu rais wale ambao wanapita saa hizi, things that are
ni waigizaji
things that were done in the 1960s. About 2024 we are still doing the same things. Kwa KDF I think kuna pia Gen Zs wanaweza come up na better ways to fanya hata hizi national holidays zetu zikuwe digital design ama zikuwe up to date.
Okay. Yep. Easy closing remarks, really brief.
First is to commend the little effort that we've seen from government, as much as we still say, yes, thank you for the State Department. I saw Dennis Itumbi was also appointed as an advisor the other day. These are steps in the right direction. But issues of bad pay, issues of payment delays, issues of IP exploitation, issues of piracy, issues of mismanagement of royalty funds, all these things must come to an end. And the closest we are coming to achieving that is having a council that can regulate these particular areas. So it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Let us work together between public sector and industry and ensure that it's a complete 50-50 forum of industry and government to run the council.
Eric?
Serikali ipatie vijana pesa. Yeah, because Trevor, I'll be brief. 17 years is a long time to be an artist. And I've seen most the trajectory it is every time the sunset for many artists, including Mzee Ojuang. I was talking to Mama Kai the other day. We've lost AKA. We've lost like 6 comedians. And we've had stories of people going insane, kama Jenga Mswahili, nyumba zimefungwa hata currently. So I think before we discuss anything, these monies that we're talking about, call artists. There used to be this thing, President Kibaki alikuwa na youth fund. Tuache kuongea. Call artists and ask them, unataka nini? Laptop. Unataka nini? Camera. Unataka ma iPhone. New content creators. Show goodwill. Okay. Because tumekuwa na a lot of bills. I have one. Senate has one. Mimi niko na bill kwa National Assembly.
Yeah.
Play 75K. Iko hapo. There are too many bills, too many representation. Again, kama MCSK. What young people want to see, including content creators, is goodwill from the government in supporting them.
Okay.
Then we can have this conversation.
All right. Eddie?
A quick one first. Thank you to my peers who were participating in this panel. I think I've taken a number of feedback. And one of it is on the issue whether we call it a guild or a council. I think a rose is a rose, whether with different names. I think I'm amenable to the idea of making the name council, because the content we all agree that the structure that is proposed by the bill is okay. Maybe just making the name all-encompassing on the adjustment. And then number 2 is that I wanted to encourage Eric, Winnie, Easy, and Nick, and other creatives that, you see, because government exists, and it has to do what it has to do. Identify some peers in that government that are sharing your norms and your pains and your values. And I didn't share my story just for the sake of it. I shared my story with you so that you know that there are people who actually understand the pain of this industry and are not just making laws for the sake of making them. They are making these laws for the sake of actually addressing what they have gone through. Lastly, is that the bill-making process is that we usually have a first reading, then second read. Then it goes to committee stage where public consultation is happening, like what we are doing right now, and then it goes to debate in the Senate, and then it goes to the National Assembly. This entire process, I would wish to see all creatives engaged. And I might have gaps because sometimes maybe, just contracts and, maybe people are busy getting difficult. But I think that this conversation should not end on this screen, on TV. When we get outside there, let us find a way of unifying our efforts as young people and then see whether we can engage further to actually make this bill address all our issues.
I have a question.
The last remark, yes.
Because I learned about this bill yesterday. So there's something I didn't understand under the Creative Fund. People who have not received credit from another national scheme are not viable for the Creative Fund. So what national schemes exactly are this? What do you mean by national schemes?
So we already have what we talk about as clusters, because membership on this guild is going to be voluntary, right? Or any creative can join. Let me call it council for the sake of easy. And see, when I say guild,
even for the sake of winning, let us just say
the
how that is proposed now in the bill will be revised when creatives are properly involved.
Okay, that's fine.
That's
fair.
That's fair.
Thank you all for making time this morning. Honorable Eddie Oketch, Senator for Migori, Ezekiel Easy Onyango, Chairperson, Kenya Film and TV Professionals Association, Eric Omondi, Content Creator, Winnie Njenga, Content Creator, and Nixon Andare, known as Nicky Big Fish, also a content creator. Thank you all for making time this morning. We'll keep having this conversation. And before I cede ground and give space for Ben Su and Roy T-Boy on the decks, just run you through the breaking news that is coming through now. We have another update. 17 pupils now, one more. 17 pupils have been confirmed dead following a fire incident at Hillside Endarasha Academy in Kieni West, that's in Nyeri County. Confirming that tragedy is the National Police Service spokesperson, Dr. Ezila Onyango, who said 14 pupils with serious burns have been rushed to hospital. Dr. Ezila also said a team of police officers led by the Deputy Director of CID, John Onyango, and Director of Homicide, Martin Nyaguto, has been deployed to the school to commence investigations into the cause of the inferno. This is the latest information that we have. We're still keeping an eye on the developing story. We'll give you the details as soon as we have them. It is such a painful moment for most of the parents there, the 17 of them, and our deepest condolences goes out to them. It is so painful that there's even no word to describe it. You know, when you lose a spouse, you're a widow or a widow. When you lose a parent, you're an orphan. What do you call a parent who's lost a child? There's no name for it. It was so painful that it cannot be described. Our deepest condolences to the families.